Back again for another locals vlog. Here we go. Going solo this week. No Chris. He made a prior engagement, which is funny because we've been going to this for like over 2 months straight now. I just forgot that that's what we do every Wednesday. But whatever. I don't need him. I'm gonna have a good time without him. I'm gonna do a good job without him, and it's gonna be fine. We're actually playing something a little bit different. We were working on B Troopers, and last week we had some flooding, so I couldn't go to locals then. But we're on an oldie but a goodie, one of the Just Nuts classics, Lair of Darkness. Really excited to give it a run. It's been a while since I've actually played the deck. I've built it a couple times, but never really felt confident enough to actually like try and play it. This is the first time I'm actually trying to play it because it's one of those decks where, like, even though Malice is the only real Lair of Darkness support card we've gotten over the last, I don't know, 3 years, like literally since the structure deck came out, it's a deck where like any normal trap that's really good is support for this deck. Anytime we get a level 3 or 4 Dark Fiend that's good is kind of support for this deck. And even engines like Amazement that have synergy with trap decks actually work out pretty well. So pretty cool, trying to give it a run, give you a more in-depth profile if you want it, if I can top. But I already have a profile that's like pretty close to what I'm playing here, so check that out. Uploaded that earlier this week, but let's get it. Let's get some locals, man. I'm trying to top with Lair. All right, we are here at TCG Tournament City Games in Frederick, Maryland. I'm sitting in the car before we head in today. I want to start a little segment, all right? It's going to be called Animation Recommendations, all right? If you guys don't know, I'm a huge fan of anime. I've really watched a ton of stuff over the last 10 years of my life, plus even longer than that. So I'm gonna throw a little recommendation at you today. Maybe we'll keep this going. Maybe every time I'll throw a little one out to you. Today I'm recommending a not really a hidden gem, but still kind of a hidden gem for like what I think it should be, and that's Hunter x Hunter. Man, this show, it's a shonen. A lot of people know it now, but like nobody knew it a couple of years ago, and the 2011 came out, and like still people didn't know, and then it finally started catching up, and anime's gotten more and more mainstream, so that's probably part of it. But even so, I still think this is one of, if not the best shonen out there. If like, I don't know, like outside of One Piece, but I understand One Piece is so long, it's like hard to really talk somebody into watching something like One Piece. I think Hunter x Hunter outside of One Piece is like the best shonen like I've ever seen. It's crazy, so highly recommend you check it out. Characters phenomenal, fighting scenes phenomenal, fighting like I guess like the, how do you even word this, like the power system in the show is like really well done. I think the Nen abilities and stuff, so really cool show. I highly recommend you check it out. So there's my animation recommendation for this week. But let's go check out locals, man. Let's hit it up. All right, guys, back from round one. It's been going this way. It's been going this way as of late. We ended up taking the L to Tri Brigade. Actually, another YouTuber, Asian with cards. I believe it's AZN with cards on on YouTube. So check him out if I remember. If I'm not a dope, I'll put a link to him in the description. Good guy, really good guy. He's playing Tri Brigade, which I have to say, even though this deck is kind of like anti-meta, Tri Brigade is like by far the worst matchup of the anti-meta decks because it just grinds way better than like any other deck in the meta game right now. So tough match, game one. Just lost the die roll, and he ends on, what does he end on? I gotta start remembering what people are doing game one. But he ended on like 3 set, I believe, 1 in hand, and like just like he just did the Fractal combo. Basically, it was just basically Fractal, but it was fine, I guess. And then I just couldn't do enough. I immediately scooped. My hand had 4 normal summons. I believe it had Lilith, Skarm, Sangan, and Barrier Statue, and the other 2 cards were like traps. So it's like it's not even like I could have tried to go like resolve Barrier Statue, normal Lilith, and like at least tribute something off and try to grind it out. It was literally nothing I could do. So I took the L immediately. I didn't even want to show him what I was playing because luckily, because he's a fellow YouTuber, he knew he thought I was actually going to be playing the bug deck, B Troopers. And so he sided into Nibs, he sided into Lancias and stuff like that. And luckily he drew the Nib, but game 2, But I went first. Didn't do anything crazy. I just normal Lilith, set a Horror House, set a Moral Tax. So that's already a 1 tally for an artifact draw this locals. We'll count it at the end of the week. And I have to activate Lair. So I didn't tribute Lilith turn 1 because I wanted to have that quick tribute. It's a really powerful interruption versus Tri-Brigade. And so he goes normal. He does it starts with Fractal, right? Once he normal summons the second Fractal he searched off of Nerval, I Book of Moon with Horror House, which is just the immediate misplay. And that's totally on me because if he didn't have an extender, it was always better there to use Lilith, because not only do you clear the monster instead of just flipping it, but I also got to excuse me. I also got the trap, while still maintaining Lilith on the field. And so once I booked him, he set 4 and passed, which is obviously extremely scary. And so I try, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta get like Heavy Storm Duster, try and like even out advantage at this point. So I try to grab Heavy Storm Duster. I end up hitting the trap trick on the Lilith, which doesn't help because it gives him a little bit of extra tell and a activation response time, which is tough. But and then it comes back to my turn. I can't even clear the Fractal because it's 1600 defense, and I'm just already like upset because I would have just like, if I just tributed the Fractal, he would have had nothing on field except for the token he gets off of Lair. I'd still have an 1000 attack point Lilith, and I would have still got the trap. So it's just tough. Yeah, and then he very quickly steamballed, obviously, with how they work. Drew a pointer for turn next turn. Thanks, a pointer. Just a tough one. Tough 2-0. But it's the worst matchup, and honestly, I don't think a single other player today is playing Tri-Brigade. So hopefully we'll get back in there, handle our business, and catch some dubs. You know, I'm going to try and go 4-1 from here, but we'll see. Not playing the best deck in the room, but I'm gonna do my best. So, all right, I'll update you in a couple minutes. All right, homies, back from round 2. Played against Mech Knights. Went pretty interestingly. So pretty much game 1. He wins the die roll, but opts second. So you already got to raise an eyebrow there and think about what you're playing against. I didn't even open that good, to be honest. I actually went normal summon Scarm, link Scarm off, and just get Scarm for Tour Guide on the next turn. And passed with, I think, 1 back row, but I think I had Ash Veiler in hand with a Heavy Storm Duster. So I honestly didn't feel that good about it because Ash Veiler's fine, but Heavy Storm Duster is not always going to be great versus every matchup. But luckily, he's playing Mech Knight, so he tries to set columns. I end up Heavy Storm Dustering him for 2, and it's actually really, really solid. It's really solid there, so I just end up kind of cleaning it up pretty quickly after that. Just end up tour guiding for Lilith. I saved a Lair in hand as the last card in hand because I didn't want to commit it to the field just to get removed because I didn't have anything to do. So like, unless I was playing like exactly Salads, like the matchup wasn't going to mean like it was going to do much for me without like Lilith or Arima. So I just ended up tributing off the Indigo he summoned. Didn't really, he did set a World Legacy's Memory. He didn't activate it, and I feel like that was probably the misplay. He probably should have gone for purple there to get Girsu and try and get his plays going there. But he set it, and that's what allowed me to duster him for 2. And that was just a blowout at that point. But I don't blame him for not expecting it. But yeah, that definitely blew it out. And then game 2, he opts to go first. He does start with Girsu, but I do have the Veiler in hand. So we just turn off the Girsu. He can't really do anything from there. So he sets a couple, I think he sets like 1 card and then ends up passing turn from there. From there, we just kind of have to grind it out. It's nothing crazy. I think we end up normaling Scarm and no, I normal Tour Guide to summon Scarm, and then he actually torrentials chaining different dimension ground. So he clears those and banishes them, so I don't end up getting Scarm on end phase. But he also cleared his own Girsu. He cleared his own back row, so now he was kind of just tight on zones, establishing those double columns there. So kind of ended up cleaning it up pretty quickly after that. Ended up setting some back row. Got a little scary at one point. I did draw into a Super Poly, which was kind of ugly because they're not like the easiest deck to Super Poly. But I summoned a Sangan because I drew into him as well. I end up Super Polying, sending my Sangan and a Girsu he summoned on a later turn, and then we just end up and then he just kind of ends up scooping. He was already at like 3,000, and he had like a purple in hand because he did resolve a blue in my face for 2 after kaijuing me, which was very scary, but luckily his last card in hand was not a spell or trap, so he could not summon the purple after that, and he knew I was just going to beat him in for game on the following turn. So nice 2-0, nice bounce back from round 1 for sure. I'm definitely welcoming that. So 1-1, let's keep it going. Lair of Darkness, let's go, baby. I'll keep you updated. End of round 3. This one was tough, man. This one was really tough. Yeah, game 1, won the die roll against Drytron. Went first. Hand was like pretty cheeks. I go normal summon Tour Guide. He imperms it. I set a Sanctum, and I think I set a heavy Storm Duster, and I pass. He ends up pretty much having full combo and Orange Light already in hand for when I activate Sanctum for Scythe. Not that it really matters that much anyway. I guess he still would have been able to probably get to the Herald in defense, which if I couldn't get to a tribute monster with Lair, and I don't even think I had Lair up, so that didn't change anything anyway. It was just game. And then game 2, sided, and honestly hand was cheeks again. Drew Moral Tax. I think that's tally number 2 for drawing my artifacts there, and I just didn't have nearly enough. I can't even remember exactly what I had. I think I had a hand trap, but it didn't matter. Man, I'm trying to think. It wasn't good, guys. The hand was just like so mediocre. Didn't draw a way to find a pointer, didn't find a way to find judgment or anything like that to try and negate a summon or something, at a choke point, and I just didn't have like nearly any disruption. I think I want to say he had Imperm again for a Tour Guide. Oh no, I literally went a Tribute Rima to draw, because I was just like, I got to draw for more interruptions. I didn't draw anything good, and just didn't work out for me. So 2-0 on that one, so we got 2-0'd, and then got 2-0'd again. No close matches this time around, but we'll see where it goes. 1-2. I'm gonna finish out the games just because I like dueling. I like playing Yu-Gi-Oh. Hopefully we'll catch some more less competitive decks here. We'll actually have some more competitive matchups. So I do think the deck can compete, but I don't know, man. A good Drytron player and a good Tri-Brigade player are hard to beat with this deck. I'm finding out. Maybe the deck just still needs more support. We'll see. Let's hit it. Last two matchups. Round 4 over and done with. Played a fun one. Round 4 we played Cosmos. Really nice guy. Somewhat newer to the game, but he just loves Star Wars, and I don't blame him. I think Cosmos is a really cool archetype. It's just holy crap. Is that a lights show behind me, or is it lightning? It's gotta be lights. I don't know what's going on there. That's insane. Oh my god. Anyway, you guys can watch that from behind. So yeah, pretty much game 1. I mean, tribute his own stuff. I did catch him on a play where I normal summoned Arima, and if he had a way to summon Dark Destroyer, he would have been able to pop the Arima because I activated Lair first, and he didn't really understand the mechanic yet because he's never played Lair, and I don't blame him. So then I just tributed his monster on field as cost, and then he realized it was probably just a little bit too late. So got the game 1 win. Then we went to game 2. We sided. He went first and just normal summoned Strawman into Dark Witch, and had a monster negate, but it didn't matter because he had already let the Tour Guide resolve. If I was him, I might have just wanted to shotgun it and have the Dark Witch for the Tour Guide, because I actually had Ties of the Brethren. And I had Super Poly, so I could Super Poly after using Tour Guide to clear the Dark Witch without using a monster effect, and then resolve the Ties of the Brethren to pop off. So worked really well. Pretty much shirted up from there. Having the quick tribute is just like game versus that deck, because their whole shtick is that they just summon big chungus monsters that can't be targeted, and I don't target. So yep, got the dub. Easy 2-0. We haven't gone to game 3 once, but we're 2-2. I'm gonna try and win the last round, get out of here with a winning record, and I'll take that as a win with Lair of Darkness. But hopefully it's a little bit better than Cosmos. I want a little more of a challenge, to be honest. But we'll see. We'll get there when we get there. I will see you in the last with news on the last round, I guess. This lightning is insane. Well, boys, The rain is insane today. Look at this. Look at this. Literally the water level's like at the low end of my car. I gotta get in here, try to get out of this parking lot. So the parking lot, I guess, just has like a drain that when it gets like over flooded, it can just be like a problem. So gotta get out here. Sorry about, hold on. Can I flip this? How do you flip this? Whatever. Guys, there's water in my car. You can hear it. Listen. All right, hold on. I'm gonna come with this stop sign. Hear it. Listen to it. There's literally water. You can hear it slush when I hit the brakes. Oh, what the fuck, dude? That's insane, dude. Holy shit. I'm sorry about the bad camera angles, all right? I'm driving. It's flooding. Jeez. All right, boys. We are back with our final round recap. Probably the best round I played all night for sure. Not just like how I played, but the match was good. I mean, I 2-0'd or got 2-0'd every single match of locals this week. But this last round, I played Burning Abyss, which could be construed as the mirror, just because we both kept just normal summoning tour guide, sending scarms, searching more tour guides. It was definitely a grind. I came so close to getting the dub in game 1, but I just couldn't find a way to assemble a monster to kill him. I believe he had 200 life points, and I literally couldn't do it. He just ended up amassing, getting into the Dante seer loop and just kind of looping those, and I couldn't put enough offensive pressure on board to push through him. I think at one point he activated a needle ceiling, and that was enough to like clear my board and keep me from reestablishing enough to be offensive enough to deal the final damage. So barely lost that one. I really had control early game, but I just couldn't get offensive enough, and he eventually grinded me out and brought it back. So definitely well played by him. He played it right, no matter how you look at it, because he only had 200 life points and he still didn't give me an opportunity to push that for game. Then we went to game 2, sided. It drew a really mediocre hand. I had a Prosperity. I saw Ties the Brethren off the top, but unfortunately, I didn't have a monster in hand for it to work with, so I had to take the tour guide. I didn't want to take the tour guide, but I had to do it. It was fine, I guess. It wasn't the best, but yeah, so set Heavy Storm Duster. He set 2 back row into the board. I popped them both, which is pretty good. I triggered an Arlecchino that I had in hand, that I drew to start, and that was fine. It just like wasn't enough. So yeah, it worked out. Well, it didn't work out, I guess. Because eventually he just ends up grinding back into it, gets into the Dante loops, goes into Beatrice. He actually opened a pretty good hand of like double BA with a tour guide. So like he baits my stuff by going double BA and then going tour guide and like just grinding it out. So I just think at the end of the day, Burning Abyss is a better, grindier version of the deck I'm playing. Like we both kind of go for traps. Obviously we do things slightly different, but based around tour guide being like one of the centerpieces, I just think his list, not his list necessarily, but like just that deck, that strategy is probably overall better than mine. So kind of tough. Like my deck is good versus like meta decks that want a combo, not as good versus like control decks that just have better ways to play control. So it was tough day. Ended up going 2-3. Definitely wanted to do better, and still another 2-0. Literally 5 straight rounds. I played 10 games of Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, technically 12, because I finished a match after the Drytron matchup, and we played another one just for fun. He played B-Troopers, and I did 2-0 him there, so I'll take that. But it is what it is. I'm not going to be too upset about it. Had a lot of fun tonight. Hopefully we can bring it back. Not sure if I've decided if I'm going to bring Lair again next week. Maybe I'll try and tweak the list a little bit, see if we can do it. I legit saw Ties of the Brethren. I resolved Ties of the Brethren one time all day, and I believe it was in the B-Trooper matchup, the match that we didn't even end up playing out. So really tough. It's like literally doing 10 test hands of being like, oh, didn't find a way to play Ties in 10 straight test hands. We played Prosperity to find it. So just tough. We didn't have any of those like really strong games, like really strong hands. But we made do. So 2-3, not great. Hopefully we'll come back next week. Weather was insane. Oh my God. I can't believe it, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe for more of these local vlogs, stupid videos. I love you. Peace.